She was unconscious. She wasn't hardly there. She walked to her bunk, and that was the last time I saw that lady walking.
Okay. But she did walk on the night of the 2nd.
To walk in there, yeah.
And she got in bed, and she was at least...
That was it. People was helping her. She was throwing up constantly. They was changing her sheet. They was basically caring for her like it was a nursing home.
Okay.
She came in that night.
All right.
And the next day, that's when we started hearing the moaning and groaning and throwing up. She was basically unconscious at the time. She couldn't speak. She couldn't eat. Anytime you tried to give her something, the officers kept saying she was kicking heroin.
Right.
We were trying to offer her candy because we've been told that giving them candy coming off of heroin helps them. We tried to offer her candy. She throwed it up, give her water. She defecated on herself several times. It was no help for her. And we kept telling the officers, you need to help her. And that night when we tried to go to sleep, the next night after her being there, we tried to go to sleep, and it was disturbing everybody. So they took her and put her into a TV room and closed her in, which is having a plexiglass window around it. So we couldn't hear, but we could still hear her in there making calls out for help.
She was calling for help?
Moaning.
Yeah.
Basically, in a moan, you are wanting help some type of way.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do anything. That morning, they put her back into the main area, to her bunk, her assigned bunk. She had another seizure. She had several seizures. She had another seizure, and that's when they finally took her to medical. And when I got down to medical that evening, she was still there. And that's when the EMS was working on her, and that's when they took her to the hospital. That was the last time I saw of her.
The 4th?
Yeah, she was way too sick. She was having seizures, and she just was incoherent. She wasn't able to help herself.
And the longer she was left there without medical attention, the more she deteriorated?
Yes.
Now, one of the things that you and some other inmates that were troubled by what you saw tried to help her, didn't you? I mean,
yes.
You cleaned her up, for instance?
Yes. Showered her, put her in the shower, put her in the chair, something like these, because they have the same chairs. Put her in the shower and sat her in the chair. Washed her down, put her back in the bed, got clean linen and everything, made her bed, put her in the bed. She still was just too sick.
But the other thing that you all tried to do, which kind of impressed me, was that you
feeding her.
Tried to feed her, didn't you?
Offer her fluids.
And so to try to keep, she was throwing up and having...
She was throwing it up.
Okay. But you tried to get her sweets because you thought that might help her condition.
Yeah, they said she was kicking heroin, and everybody was saying, you know, people was coming off of heroin, that the sweets is supposed to be helping them or whatever. So we tried to give her sweets. It didn't help. She throwed it up.
And the people that said that she was kicking heroin, that was only the detention officers, right?
The medical staff and detention officers.
Okay. You didn't hear any other inmates suggest that, did you?
No. And it was from the medical staff and the detention officers. And
you didn't, based on your experience, you didn't believe that either, did you?
No.
Because it was obvious to you it was something else?
It could have been something else, but when they told us that, that's what I assumed too.
Okay. Because you assumed since medical said it, they must have checked her out.
Yeah.
But you never saw them check her out?
No.
Except to do vitals once in a while?
They came in and did her vitals when she was having the seizures. They did her vitals and they'll leave out.
Tamala,
they never took her down to medical except for the last time when they took her to medical, and that's when I saw her with the EMS.
Now, Tamala, when they came to check her vitals, was that not until the 4th?
They checked her vitals that night. They came in. They checked her vitals. It was maybe like 2 or 3 in the morning. They came in, and then it was that morning, and all through that day and that night. Every time they came in, they checked her vitals, and that was it, and they'd leave.
So you think
her oxygen and her vital signs, that was it.
You think they checked her on the 3rd?
Yes.
And then it checked her again on the 4th?
Yes.
You witnessed them checking her?
Yes, I witnessed them checking her, yes.
And when they checked her, what did they do?
Basically just get her positioned on the bed again and do her vital signs, do the oxygen with the finger, and that was it. They had a few words back and forth with the officers and the medical staff, and they left.
Did you ever witness them say things to the effect that she's coming off drugs, this is what she deserves?
Yeah. No, not really. I never heard them say that, but they just basically told us there's nothing we can do. She's coming off drugs. You just have to deal with it.
They were pretty indifferent or nonchalant about it?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And did that bother you?
They think that the staff didn't care that this woman is moaning and groaning and she's pleading for help, because if you were pleading for help like that, I don't know what's wrong with you. It can be a whole lot of things wrong with you, but I would want to try to get you some type of medical attention. And by us being incarcerated, you cannot get no medical attention other than what they have there.
And it was difficult to get medical attention in the. Could you wait till I finish the? That's all right. It was difficult to get the MCSO and the medical staff there.
You have to ask the officers first, and if the officers didn't want to do anything, there was nothing we can do.
Except file a grievance, maybe.
File a grievance, yes.
Okay.
But the grievance, it would take 7 days to hear.
Did you witness people attempting to try to get medical help when you were there?
The only way that you can get medical help is that you have to go to the officer and speak with the officer there that's working the dorm that day. If you want to talk to the sergeant, you still have to have the officer call and talk to the sergeant. It has to be about something.
Another inmate we talked to that was there with Deborah said that during this period of time, if you wanted medical attention at that MCSO facility, you had to fight for it.
Yeah, you did. You always have to fight for medical attention in Maricopa County.
Now, on paragraph 8, you say on numerous occasions, I heard other inmates request that the detention officers give Mrs. Brellier medical attention, but they were ignored.
Yes.
You said numerous occasions, 5, 6?
It was maybe more than that.
More than that?
Yes.
8, 10 different inmates trying to get her help?
I think the whole pod tried.
Okay.
And at that time, my bunk number was 163. So I'd say it was at least like 172 inmates in there.
Trying to get Deborah help, and they just wouldn't do it?
They wouldn't do it.
The response to them was...
She's kicking, get over it, deal with it, this is jail.
Basically, it's her fault.
It's her fault that she done it to herself.
Okay.
What can we do?